Next on 7 News at noon.
Full sunshine, mild temperatures to wrap up February, but we're still keeping a close eye on that coastal storm for the end of the week.
Developing here at noon, Sky 7 HD over the scene in Easton, where police are looking for a man who's been missing since last week. The scene of a brutal attack opened to the public once again. More on the growing tribute outside of the Winchester Public Library after a young woman was stabbed to death inside over the weekend. And the case against the alleged Florida school shooter back to court, what lawyers for both sides have agreed to.
This is 7 News at noon.
Good afternoon. First up here at noon, a live look outside. It is another pleasant February day, and anytime you can use sunshine, pleasant, and February in the same sentence, you're in good shape. There is a potential, however, for some nasty weather headed our way, but that's for later in the week. Meteorologist Bree Eggers is here now with the very latest on the current conditions and what's in store.
Yeah, Chris, even though it's quiet right now, there's still a lot to talk about in the forecast. Full sunshine for us. That'll be around through the day today and tomorrow as well. Milder temperatures in store for us as we boost temperatures up to near 60 degrees, and that could be in store for even Boston. Clouds start to increase for us tomorrow afternoon, and of course, all the talk this week has been about that developing coastal storm Thursday night into Friday and what the impacts will be here close to home. It looks like there are a couple of pieces of energy that will eventually phase, but models are trending a little farther to the south for those worst impacts and also not phasing until this system is well out to sea. However, there are a few things that we're still keeping a close eye on, and here's what we know so far. For that late week storm timeline, late Thursday into the overnight hours through the day on Friday, but forecast models are making it a little more progressive, moving out to sea a little more quickly than we thought a couple of days ago. High astronomical tides plus an onshore wind does still leave that concern for coastal areas. And we're looking at mainly rain, though there's still a chance for some inland wet and heavy snowfall. We'll cover all of this in more detail coming up in just a few minutes.
Okay, Bree, thank you. We want to get to a developing story out of Easton now, where police are searching for a man who was reported missing last week. Sky 7 HD over that search area this morning, and police say they are looking for 35-year-old Gregory Glavin. He was last seen leaving his friend's house in North Attleboro back on February 17th. Anyone who has seen Glavin or has any information on where this man might be, you're asked to call police and the Easton Police Department. Also on 7 now, the Winchester Library is reopening today, just days after a medical student was stabbed to death inside. This is some video here of a growing tribute outside of that library, and today we are learning some more about the suspect and possible missed signs about his troubled past. 7's Victoria Warren is live in Winchester with the very latest. Vicki?
Yeah, there are some concerns about the suspect's mental history and mental health. Now, the library is going to reopen in about an hour. Some staff members already here arriving back at the library. They were hugging, they were crying, and they're also being greeted by a community that wants to show their support.
A path of hearts greeting anyone coming back to Winchester's Public Library for the first time since 22-year-old Deanne Kenny Stryker was stabbed to death inside on Saturday morning.
Just love, you know, it just really affected us, and I don't know what else to do right now.
Grief counselors and police on hand for returning staff. Many witnessed the horror when police say 23-year-old Jeffrey Yao attacked the young woman from behind with no warning.
Staff is devastated. Very upset. It all happened so quickly, so quickly. You know, you're working on your computer 1 minute and the next you're gone.
And the flowers and tributes to Deanne keep coming in as well.
Everywhere she go, she make friends. She make friends from everything.
Alana Pashiva's daughter was good friends with Deanne, leaving this collage of memories.
Oh my God, I just can't believe it. I just can't believe it.
Her mom, like so many in this community, overcome with emotions, not understanding how a 22-year-old woman gets murdered while studying at a library.
This is the place that you can be safe. How?
We've heard from some patrons that they won't be returning to the library, and we certainly don't want that.
Time will tell how today goes. The library is going to open to the public again at 1 this afternoon. As for the suspect, he remains in police custody at his court arraignment. He entered a not guilty plea and the judge ordered him held without bail. Live in Winchester, Victoria Warren, 7 News.
New here at noon, a former Marblehead hockey coach accused of child rape has been indicted by a grand jury. 31-year-old Christopher Prue was indicted on indecent assault and battery charges. Prosecutors say it happened multiple times at the victim's Newton home back in 2015. Prue is due back in court in March. Chilling scene caught on camera in Lowell. A bicyclist, did you see what happened there? He had to be rushed to the hospital after being hit by that car while trying to cross the street. Today, we are hearing from witnesses who saw this crushing collision. Here's 7's John Coco.
Oh gosh, it's nauseating.
A security camera captures the moment. A cyclist is hit along a busy Lowell street. Initially, he slowly makes his way into the road, reaching a median before a car suddenly appears and hits him.
This is a very dangerous intersection. People do not know how to yield.
Mark Hunter says he watched from his apartment above the crash.
And we looked out and we saw the biker on the ground,
lying in the street near his now mangled bike, unable to tell if the man was conscious.
We didn't know for a while, but then he held his hand up, but they were feeling his legs, both legs. He was on the ground for about 10 minutes.
The driver stuck around as police investigated the scene. You could see the serious impact on his windshield, along with a broken headlight. Despite the damage, the cyclist is expected to be okay.
There was no bleeding, and I couldn't see any obvious injuries.
Hunter says this serves as a warning. Everyone needs to watch out in this area.
People come across from the street from here and walk through here all the time.
And that witness says the cyclist was wearing a helmet, which he says was a very good thing, because if he wasn't, this would have gone a lot differently. In Lowell, John Coco, 7 News.
It is business as usual today at Taunton High School after police were forced to arrest a student yesterday after some alarming allegations here. This is the young man. That student is behind bars after police say he made threats against both officers and the high school itself. 7's Nicole Oliveira has been following the story. She is live in Taunton with more on what happened here. Nicole?
Well, Chris, police tell us this is a student who hadn't been in school most of the year. The guidance department apparently notified the resource officers that he was going to be here, so they were waiting at the school's entrance. They say when he got here, he was walking briskly, wearing a backpack, and so they acted.
Students returning to Taunton High School one day after police say an 18-year-old threatened to shoot up the school.
These kids now, I don't understand what they're thinking. You know, and who knows, he may not even have an AR-15, and he says he does. You know, what's this fool thinking that he's going to, you know, shoot up the place?
The staff told the school's 2 resource officers that Kane Jefferson planned to return to school Monday after having not attended classes for most of the year. Police say Jefferson had a history of disciplinary issues, so officers met him at the entrance.
They spoke with him. They stopped him. They engaged him in a conversation, and he didn't want anything to do with our school resource officers. He became animated, flailing his arms and swearing at them.
Police say when they tried to bring Jefferson to the security office, he threatened to kill them.
He refused to be pat-frisked. He made threats to our school resource officers that he would take their guns and kill them and come back with an AR-15 and light up the school.
Jefferson was arrested. When officers searched him, they didn't find any weapons, but police say they weren't taking any chances.
Well, certainly they would have to take it seriously. What would be the outcome if they hadn't?
The school district notified parents in town by email about the incident.
I was actually kind of surprised, and I was actually pleased that there was a quick, turnaround, and how quickly the school actually responded to let parents know that this happened.
Police say the resource officers have a great working relationship with the staff and administration here at the high school. Jefferson faced a judge yesterday, and he's being held without bail until a dangerousness hearing later this week. We're live in Taunton. Nicole Oliverio, 7 News.
Breaking news here this noon involving the Bruins. The Boston Bruins announcing that Patrice Bergeron is going to be out of action for at least 2 weeks after fracturing his right foot. Bergeron suffered this injury during a game Saturday night in Toronto. The Bees say the X-rays revealed a small fracture. The team will reevaluate the star forward in about 2 weeks, so fingers crossed, hopefully it heals quickly. Now to the latest on the Florida shooting. The case against the suspected gunman back in court today. Prosecutors and defense attorneys attorneys reaching an agreement on DNA and other samples from Nicholas Cruz, the accused shooter here. He is now charged with 17 counts of murder. Since the shooting happened on Valentine's Day there, students have marched and rallied to try and change the nation's gun laws. So far, it doesn't seem like there is a lot getting done in Washington in regards to this, but we want to bring in 7's Dan Housley now with the latest on what's happening. Dan?
Well, Chris, there is a little bit of movement on gun or school safety legislation in Florida. But in Washington, though Congress is back this week, there's no indication there'll be votes on those subjects anytime soon.
This week we will.
House Republican leaders reacting to the Florida high school shooting this morning, but revealing no plans for new laws to stop the next shooting.
We shouldn't be banning guns for law-abiding citizens. We should be focusing on making sure that citizens who should not get guns in the first place don't get those guns.
Speaker Paul Ryan throwing cold water on calls from young survivors of the shooting to ban assault weapons or even raise the age to buy them to 21.
Of course we want to listen to these kids, but we also want to make sure that we protect people's due process rights and legal constitutional rights while making sure that people who should not get guns don't get them. This kid was clearly one of those people.
Ryan points out the House passed bills to tighten background checks and to ban bump stocks that are both waiting for the Senate to take action. House Minority Whip Steve Scalise, who was shot with others at a congressional softball practice, says what happened in Florida was less a failure of laws, but a failure of law enforcement.
I wouldn't be here right now if it wasn't for law enforcement confronting the shooter in my case. And it's really disappointing that ultimately somebody didn't go into that school that was there and armed to protect those kids.
Speaker Ryan says personally he likes the idea of allowing some teachers to carry guns, but thinks it's an issue to be decided locally. Gun control advocates in Florida were disappointed when a state house committee rejected a proposal to ban assault weapons, but the committee is still considering a bill to raise the age to buy rifles to 21 and create a 3-day waiting period for all gun purchases. The bill also creates a program allowing well-trained teachers to carry concealed weapons in the classroom if a school district votes to allow it. And the rush of some big companies to drop NRA discounts in the wake of the Florida shooting appears to be slowing a little bit. FedEx says it doesn't want to get involved in politics and is keeping the discount. And Georgia's lieutenant governor says he's going to kill any legislation that includes a tax break for Delta Airlines after Delta dropped its NRA discount. There is a tax break on jet fuel at Atlanta's airport that could be affected. Live in the newsroom, Dan Housley, 7 News.
We want to stick with politics now and the latest in the Russia investigation, where the White House Communications Director, Hope Hicks, reportedly is set to testify before the House Intelligence Committee today. The panel plans to ask her about any knowledge she has of contacts that may have happened between Trump campaign associates and the Russians. That includes a meeting aboard Air Force One when a misleading statement was crafted about a meeting between President Trump's son and a Russian lawyer. Still to come here on 7 News at noon. School back in session today in Medford after a security scare gave students a day off. The tough questions the superintendent will be facing tonight. Plus, Homeward Bound. Neat story here, an emotional reunion for a pet owner and his once missing dog.
And a really nice wrap to February. Still enjoying that sunshine for a couple more days, but also more details on that coastal storm for the end of the week coming up in the forecast.
Take a look at this video. Did you see what happened there? Scary moments for air passengers on the Southwest Airlines flight when fire started shooting out of one of the engines. We'll tell you what happened here when 7 News at noon returns.
Tonight, with illegal drug use on the rise, one local man is offering a new way to help. Good girl. Parents worried that their child may be hiding drugs can get answers and peace of mind.
I believe I've saved a lot of kids.
7 takes you inside this drug-sniffing dog business. Tonight at 9 and 10.
Some wild video out of Louisville, Kentucky. Oh dear, the deer goes tumbling, diving into water and for a perfect 10. The jump didn't seem to faze the deer, though. He just swims off. Not something you see every day, right? You know what else you don't see every day, and that's lots of sunshine and warm temperatures in February and in New England. When it all comes together like that, Bree, it puts a smile on our face, right?
Not a cloud in the sky today. Absolutely beautiful bluebird skies out there, and the sun angle getting stronger toward the end of February as well, helping to boost those temperatures up. We're running about 10 degrees above normal today as high pressure is in control, not just today, but into tomorrow as well, and even boosting those temperatures up to near 60 tomorrow. 48 right now in Boston, 50 in Norwood and Plymouth, 45 in Worcester. We still have a couple more degrees to go as we get into this afternoon. So many locations topping out in the low 50s and a lighter breeze than what we experienced yesterday. Into tomorrow, as that high pressure slides to the southeast, it'll give us some of this southwest flow, and it does bring in some milder air from the southwest, taking those temperatures up to near 60 degrees. So while we're now sitting at number 3 for the warmest February on record, I think we maybe even could slip into the number 2 spot by the time we wrap it all up tomorrow for the last day of the shortest month of the year. Here's how the next couple of days shape up for us. The 1st of March not looking too bad either. More clouds in play, but still we have above normal temperatures and maybe some late showers that start to move in for us. That would be ahead of that coastal storm that we've been talking about. Some of that energy all the way out in Southern California currently, and it's going to take a while to get here. So as we look ahead in the timeline, I mentioned for tomorrow that high pressure sliding off to the southeast does bring in some more cloud cover for us, but we will keep it dry Wednesday into Thursday, the bulk of Thursday. Thursday evening into the overnight hours, there could be some wet weather to contend with. A couple areas of energy that will eventually phase together to make for a powerhouse storm, but it looks like that doesn't happen until that monster is out to sea. However, it will bring this prolonged onshore flow of wind, not just through Thursday night, but even into the weekend. So that's something that we have to watch for us, because it does still leave that coastal concern on the table, certainly because of the high astronomical tide. So watching out for high tide cycles for Friday, also into Saturday, midday Saturday, that's still in the cards for us as well. Other impacts still determined by that storm track, but for now, it does look like the storm is trending a little more toward the south, which would lessen the impact from the wind. It would also lessen the impact from rain and snow. Currently, it does look like more rain than snow. However, inland wet and heavy snow, that's still on the table as well. And we'll have more details this afternoon, first at 4, and of course tomorrow as we get closer to that storm system arriving in our area neighborhood. Few clouds tonight. It's quiet, 34 to 39, and then moving into the day tomorrow, mostly sunny, warmer temperatures could make it into the low 60s for a few spots, depending on how long we keep that bright sunshine around for. Here's a look at my 7-on-7 forecast, cooling it off by the time we enter into the end of the week. Just more seasonable temperatures in store for us, and then clearing out by the beginning of next week.
Bree, thanks. A truck driver and his dog back together again after a troubling series of events. Last month, the dog was stranded and seriously hurt and was found right in the middle of a street. Well, officials say they found the dog, Tej. He was on Route 16 in Everett last month. His owner let him out to stretch his legs at the truck stop, but Tej ran off and didn't come back. The dog was seriously hurt and needed to have his leg amputated by an area veterinarian. His owner, a Montana-based truck driver, says he never gave up hope of finding his best friend again.
I love him. I mean, he's like my partner. He's with me everywhere I go. He's with me. If you see me, he's there.
How does it make you feel?
Over here, right?
Tej's rescuers were also there for this emotional reunion. They say that they are thrilled to see the puppy doing well, and he is obviously happy to be going back home. Still ahead here on the news station, a disturbing discovery in Hadley. We'll tell you what was found inside a storage unit that had police and the bomb squad investigating. And passengers describing some scary moments in this mid-air scare when an engine on their plane bursts into flames shortly after taking off.